Welcome everyone to the ASVP experience. I'm your host ASVP, and what just went down in WWE Backlash pay-per-view 2020, you know, it was pretty good overall. Started off slow, but finished off really strong. You know, First off, did we have the greatest wrestling match ever? Stay tuned till the end. But starting it off, we had the kickoff show, Apollo Crews vs Andrade for the US title match. And honestly, great kickoff match. Pretty cool. Had some spots, this, that. Kevin Owens was on commentary. In the ending, Kevin Owens comes out, takes out Garza. Andrade gets a bit lost and confused. And then, Apollo Crews comes out, hits his finisher. 1, 2, 3. Apollo retains. Pretty sick match. I reckon that's probably going to be... That should be the end of that feud. However, maybe WWE are going to continue it. Then, starting it off, the actual pay-per-view, we get Bayley and Banks taking on the Iconics, taking on Bliss and Cross for the women's tag titles. And it was pretty sick to watch. It had its spots. Always to have a tag team triple threat match or, a four-way, something like that, where you're going to hit a lot of big moves, a lot of big spots at the start of the pay-per-view is always good to have. So it was pretty cool to see Bayley and Banks win. So that was that. Then we had Jeff Hardy versus taking on Sheamus. And, honestly, for a feud where they're building up so much, and they just want to go, they just want to beat each other up. It had half of that because at the start you have Jeff straight away coming onto Sheamus. However, it wasn't that much of a unique great match. It was just like an average Raw SmackDown match, to be honest. And Jeff Hardy comes. This is a twist of fate. Hits a swanton bomb, but Sheamus actually kicks out, which was pretty, surprising. He comes out, hits a broad kick, hits another one. He pins Jeff 1, 2, 3. Sheamus gets that W. Didn't see that coming. Wasn't expecting that, but yeah, pretty good to see. To see Sheamus getting elevated. Hopefully Jeff Hardy, they do something else with him. Just so there's a comeback. They're probably gonna continue the feud though. Then we had Asuka taking on Nia Jax for the Raw Women's title, and it was a shocking match. The ending was a double counter. Asuka retains. It was a shocking match. Don't really like Nia. They could have done so much with this match. But, yeah, that was it. Then we had Braun taking on The Miz and Morrison. And honestly, this was probably, the turning point of the pay-per-view. Where, you had Apollo kicking off with Andrade. Yeah, it was alright. Then the first, 3 matches, they were just average. And this one was where the actually pay-per-view took a turn. And it actually just got better and better from there. And Miz and Morrison come out. They do a debut song. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, their match was pretty good. It was pretty decent. How they were just kept tagging each other in, trying to stay fresh. They kept doing high spots. Morrison looks he was absolutely great with all his spots he was doing today. Just how Braun was, he was still looking strong even though there was 2 guys taking him down. He would always get that. He would still always never be defeated down. He'd always get that offense. However, they hit a pretty cool tag team finish. The Skull Crusher finale with the Miz giving a dropkick to Braun's head. Bang. Morrison goes on him 1, 2, and then the Miz pulls him off, and he's like, oh shit, and then he's he gets Morrison back on. He goes, no, go, and then Braun kicks out. After that, Braun builds a bit of speed, takes out the Miz, hits Morrison, with the running slam, then Braun gets that win. Didn't expect that ending though. Hopefully we get, tomorrow on Raw, or SmackDown, what's happening, with them, what did that mean? Hopefully not just yet. They're gonna let them, go on their own, but hopefully hopefully, there's an explanation and it's all good. Because, what Miz and Morrison are doing now is pretty funny. It's actually one of the best things, in WWE right now. Then after that, we had Drew McIntyre taking on Lashley for the WWE Championship. Now, coming, to this match, you'd think, yeah, like average Bobby, Drew, yeah, he's a WWE champ, but, this is still, he's still pretty, fresh. Hasn't had really that, like, great opponent yet since winning the title from Brock. But, yeah, so, your expectations for this match was pretty low, to be honest. But out of the blue, Bobby comes out, puts a full Nelson on, Drew. Like, he's struggling, he's they can't take Bobby off before the match even starts, and then Bobby lets go. The match starts, and Bobby looks strong in this match. Even though Drew won because of interference by Lana, Bobby looked absolutely strong. He was hitting his moves, he was hitting spears, he was looking great. MVP, helping him so much. Absolutely loved it. Drew as well, Drew, yeah, he was, taking the punishment, but Drew as well, he was coming up stronger. Every time he got hit hard, he got hit down, he just came back, 2 times harder. And it was pretty cool to see, and I wouldn't have minded this match to go even for another 15 minutes. Like, that's how interesting and fun it was. And then, you had, at the end, Lana coming out, and Lana going on, up the steel steps and saying something to the ref, to Bobby. Bobby gets, like, confused. He gets sidetracked. Then, Drew hits the Claymore. 1, 2, 3. Drew wins, but Drew, stays on the floor. He looks beaten up, which was good. Bobby MVP leave, Bobby was furious. Looked at Lana. He walked away. Now we're going to see probably the split up of Bobby. Most likely we'll see the split up of Bobby and Lana. Probably Lana will not be doing any more stuff because Rusev's not in WWE anymore. But, we'll see what happens with that. But really, really enjoyed this match. It actually did not make Lashley look, because he has momentum coming through, building up. And it didn't make him look bad, He can literally bounce back from this, go for, like, the US title, the Intercontinental title, or even, just have, just a few more feuds and then come back to, Drew looking even stronger. So it was pretty cool. Then we had the Viking Raiders taking on the Street Profits, which we were expecting, a tag team, title match. But no, actually took a turn of events, they were, in the car park, fighting. Then, again, Braun Strowman's car gets broken, as we've seen, the other week on SmackDown, where the Miz and Morrison breaks his windshield. The same thing happens, they run away, they're like, whoa, whatever. Then they start battling, through the Performance Center, and then they come back out again. And these guys with motorbikes, come out and they look like ninjas, and you're just like, what the hell? Then actually Akira Tozawa takes off the helmet, and that was, I absolutely love that. That was something that's very unexpected. Like, absolutely adored that. Then we had, a little thing with them. The Street Profits Viking Raiders coming together, be like, we can smoke them and all that. They take on Akira and the ninjas. They'll do all of that. They come back fighting again. Then they have like a little revelation where they're like, oh, what we're doing, is it even worth it? And then towards the end, they all, on top of a truck, they all fall off into like a garbage pit, and they're all just lying there, and they're like, this is too much. Then a woman referee comes, and she's like, to one of the Viking Raiders, you look good, the other one not so much, and then that's how we just cut. And then, we didn't have the Raw Tag Team title match, but we had an actually, like a pretty good, send-off with all these vignettes that they've been doing on Raw, like every week. This, like, spot, what they did was pretty cool, to see, instead of just having a normal wrestling match. Maybe on Raw tomorrow they have a normal wrestling match, but yeah, this was pretty, I really enjoyed that. Did not like it from the start because I thought, Viking Raiders were looking like pretty stupid. However, after all of this, they had their little fun. Maybe, the Viking Raiders, they get those titles. Street Profits always do Street Profits, things. But, Viking Raiders can straight away, elevate themselves to a higher level again. Just be like, it was pretty cool. Then after that, we get the main event, which went for an astounding 50 minutes, which was pretty cool. Didn't expect a 50-minute match, but we get the greatest wrestling match, Randy Orton taking on Edge. Now, before my thoughts, I'm going to give a little bit of a rundown through the match. Start of the match. Before the start of the match, we get a MSG announcement, ring announcement. It was actually Howard Finkel's voice, Howard Finkel's voice, introducing Randy, introducing Edge, and absolutely love that. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, we had Howard Finkel, pass away, but it was absolutely great to see. They put that in. It just makes it bigger. He's the greatest wrestling announcer ever. Just to have him, just do that was amazing. And I think a lot of people wouldn't have even got it at the start. They would have thought to themselves, why the hell is there an MSG thing with microphones? It's just weird. But I really like that they did that. And it just gives that feeling like if they're going to put that greatest wrestling match ever, they need the greatest, wrestling announcer ever. Then we started off the match, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't seen Randy Orton do, lockups for maybe 15 years. Not even since Edge retired 9 years ago. Even with Edge as well, you don't really see him wrestle towards the end of his career. But yeah, you see lockups and it went for 10, 15 minutes of just locking up, feeling themselves, taking each other down. And it was pretty cool, that's what if you see a lot of the time, those 5-star matches, at the start, first 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, you'll see them just locking up and just them feeling themselves and let the crowd, just build up a little bit. But yeah, it was good to see, like I said, Edge, Randy, they were just hitting each other's moves, Randy gets a little bit bloody at the start, at the beginning of the match, he gets a big boot to the, face. What they'll do was pretty cool, they were actually executing moves at the highest degree. And, they were going all around the ring. They were wrestling. They weren't just, using their same moves. They were actually hitting other people's moves. As we saw, Randy Orton, he ripped out a pedigree and an Olympic slam. Edge rips out, the I'm prettier by his best friend Christian. And then he hits a rock bottom as well. Unbelievable to see, just stuff like that. Randy, he was doing moves that you've never seen him do before. Edge was still you can see Edge every time Randy Orton hitting these moves that he's never hit before. You see Edge just trying to one up him. With the execution, all of that. It was good back and forth. And then towards the end, you have Randy Orton hitting an RKO, 1-2. Edge kicks out. Edge goes two spears onto Orton. 1-2. Orton kicks out. Did not expect that. Thought Orton was going to get pinned there. And then they have a little bit of a back and forth. RKO's him. Then at the end of the match, Randy Orton runs up, punts him in the head. Haven't seen that for such a long time. It was great to see, for the ending, Randy Orton hits him with a punt. 1, 2, 3. Randy wins, tells him you're nothing. I'm better than you. Randy Orton goes out, as the better wrestler in this match, which I feel like not a lot of people expected that outcome. I did, due to the fact that they were literally saying Edge hasn't wrestled for 9 years. Randy's been here for 9 years. Randy's, he's had that much more, wrestling years and all of that, and Edge has that ring rust, and they were building this as the greatest wrestling match ever. Was it? No. It's not even the greatest wrestling match in WWE. Was it a great match? It was a great match. I really enjoyed it. Like, honestly, like, there's really nothing like you can say like that went bad in this match. Yeah, maybe like if they added a few more, I don't know, high spots where maybe Edge, starts bleeding or something like that. But you really didn't need it in this match because they were the main focus was like the main focus really for this match was, can Edge actually out wrestle Randy? Is Edge even like a good wrestler still? And I think they actually told a really great story. And you saw it. Randy was effortlessly doing moves, whilst Edge had to crawl his way just to do those moves. He had to push himself over that limit where Randy was like, he knew what he was doing. He knew how to reverse. He knew how to take down, like, phenomenally. And yeah, it was very interesting, great, story, especially coming from like Royal Rumble to now. It's like a 4-month story right now, and they're still gonna have one more match after this. They're still gonna have a match after this to settle it 100%. Because one win at WrestleMania for Edge, one win at for Randy Orton. So yeah, to me it was pretty good. I rate this as one of the better matches Edge and Randy has ever had together, if not top 3 matches they've ever had. But yeah, I feel like they really like how they're doing this storyline with them. It's great because this is Edge's comeback, and this is him starting it off. And honestly, Edge looked like himself, like he was like himself 9 years ago, 10 years ago. Like he looked like himself taking on Undertaker at WrestleMania, Alberto Del Rio. It was really good to see Edge wrestle like this, and it just shows, everyone always says Randy's a boring wrestler, hits like 3-4 moves, doesn't really do much, but you actually see now, Randy is actually great. He knows what he's doing. These guys right now, Randy and Edge, they're if not close to 40 or maybe a little bit over 40, don't really know their age right now, but they're around the 40 mark. And they're literally putting on a better show than people like Apollo. People like Drew, Lashley. They're hitting more, better stuff than, bigger people like Braun, Sheamus. Just to show like something like that in a main event, it just shows you, like how great Randy and Edge are. I'm not going to say were because they're actually still wrestling. How great they are. And like, once they leave, once they're gone in WWE, you don't have many other, veterans there. You really don't. And to me, it was just that nostalgia, coming back. When I see them wrestle, I think to myself, the Rated RKO, Edge, Rated R Superstar, Randy becoming a legend killer. All that stuff just comes back to you. And that's why, to me, like, this was actually great. And it was so good to see, a match that nearly went for an hour, went for like 50 minutes. To see them actually, like, do all of this was pretty cool. And they really deserve, a high praise for this. But I really enjoyed it. And I just can't wait for them to continue this storyline. Because I feel like all of us, as, WWE fans, are pretty devoted in this storyline, and it's gonna have a huge payoff, I reckon. But yes, that's all for WWE Backlash. Started off slow, finished off, pretty great. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care. Bye.